consider this sort of flexibility.
Mr. Chair.
I call the Honourable Minister Judith Collins.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to answer a few of the questions that have been raised. The first one I need to deal with actually straight away is the contribution from the member from the Green Party, who, as I recall, stated that the SOP was removing the general prohibition for internal searches. And actually, it couldn't be further from the truth. And I'd refer the member to page 15 of the supplementary order paper, number 12 in my name, which makes it very clear that actually it doesn't in fact do that. It in fact makes sure that it is now a general prohibition on internal searches applies to all enforcement officers, not just police constables. So it actually extends it. Now, this is a sort of nonsense that I think we've heard from the Green Party tonight, and I don't normally say that sort of thing, but frankly, it's the sort of scaremongering that one would expect. I am, however, appalled by New Zealand First, the new soft-on-crime party, after that contribution. And I say that for a reason. Now, I note that the new member, Mr O'Rourke, said, look, they're new members, they haven't been through the select committee process, and I took that into account when I offered that party a full briefing on the search and surveillance, and I said, look, you can come along to my office and hear from the officials or whatever, anything he wants to know. And did they take it up? No. I guess they were too busy. However, Mr Chevelle was very happy to come and talk to me about proposed changes, and we brought some of those changes through and we discussed it, and they're not everything that the Labour Party wanted, but I'll say this for Mr Chevelle, at least he came and talked, at least we could talk about what we could do, and I actually think that that's a very responsible thing to do. That, however, doesn't deal with the fact that we're still not going to agree with everything that he's come along to talk about. And this evening, Mr Chevelle suggested that we might want to change the level of seriousness of offence for which the examination order, for instance, could be applied for. And one of the issues was around maybe making it a 10-year penalty for it to apply. But the advice that I have is that the 5-year maximum penalty, if we had anything over 5-year maximum, that would actually exclude, in the business context, possession of property with intent to engage in money laundering. It would exclude injuring with intent to injure. It would exclude being armed with a weapon with intent to commit aggravated robbery. And if we said, well, we took out the 7-year exclusion for non-business situations, that would also take out engaging in money laundering, dishonestly taking or using a document, obtaining benefit or causing loss by deception, accessing a computer system to dishonestly obtain a benefit or cause or loss. And that would actually, by reducing the threshold, it would undermine the primary rationale for having the powers in the first place. But I do take his point about whether or not we can have a schedule and add particular things to it. And there is a reason not to go down that route, and the reason is this. Because this Parliament spends day in, day out changing laws. We make amendments to things like acts like the Crimes Act. We constantly do so. If we were to amend any of these offences, any of the laws relating to these offences, we would then need to make sure we carried it through to the next act, because otherwise suddenly these powers would fail. And that has happened in the past, where we have had parliaments, the very best will in the world, going through select committee and something falls through the gap. And I think really, when we look at these level of sentences available, they are all for serious offences. So that's why we're not going to support that. But I would say with Mr Chevelle, at least he talked to me about it, at least he put it down for me, and at least he didn't turn up on the night to say, well, suddenly that party, like New Zealand First, is soft on crime, because by goodness they are now.
I call the Honourable David Parker.
Thank you, Mr Chairman. I was going to, on this call, and I'm sorry for Leanne to